All right. I think live now. I think it's going now. Good evening, everyone. Good to see you guys. Thanks for joining in. This is a weekly live broadcast. I do pretty much every Thursday evening. Sometimes things get in the way, but usually Thursday evening, 7 o'clock Central. This is where I'm at. This is probably your best place to get questions answered if you have them, because I haven't been good at answering comments lately. I've just no excuses. Just haven't been good about doing that. Haven't responded to comments in a while. I need to get back into it. I know, but it is what it is. So this is your best place right now. I do try to answer every chat that comes in during the live chat itself, unless you're talking to each other, which is fine. I skip over those. I tend to skip over those. So just get the normal disclaimers out of the way. The things I ask is be polite, be family friendly. Don't be hateful with anybody. Don't start cussing at us. Anything else is pretty much fair. You can ask me any question you want to ask me. We'll talk about anything you want to talk about for the most part. But like I said, keep it family friendly, be polite. Even if we have differences of opinions, that's no reason to be hateful or anything like that. So let's get into it. Dylan was here early, so thanks for stopping by, Dylan. Hopefully you're still around. Asked if anybody else was waiting. We got Joy. Joy was here early as well, and Blessed with Pets. Good to see you guys. Joy said, hello, all Quail people. My Jeep is dead over an hour away, but I'm still going to listen in. Oh, that sucks. I'm sorry to hear that. I'm guessing I don't know if you're in your Jeep and it's dead an hour away, or it's an hour away from where you are and it's dead. That's rough when your Jeep dies. I know. I had a Jeep once. And Verna says everything. Oh, no, says evening, Chris and Quail family. And hopes Joy gets the Jeep back. I do too. Hey, Brandon from Whiskey Tango Farms is here. Good evening to you. Good to see you. Says who's excited for QuailCon next week? And Verna sure is. I'm looking forward to it too. It's only a week away next weekend. QuailCon at My Shire Farm in Miamisburg, Ohio. There we go. Said it. I have a hard time with that. My wife works in Miami, Oklahoma. We call it Miami, but it's Miami, Oklahoma. It's just across the Oklahoma border. 20 minutes away from here. That's where she's from. So Miamisburg, Ohio always is a tongue twister for me. Where we at? Todd from Crete, Illinois. Good to see you. Verna says to hit the thumbs up, people. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. And let's see how else we got in here. Hey, Blessed with Pets. Good to see you. Lillian Wolf says, the doe has been bred at least 3 times and had kits previously. Any idea what's going on? Is there more to that question? I'm not sure. Did I miss something? I don't see a previous question. I don't know what you're asking me exactly. The doe has been bred at least 3 times and had kits previously. Any idea what's going on? So I don't know if you're saying that you tried to breed her and maybe she didn't get pregnant. I don't know what the question is exactly. I think maybe you tried to post something else and it didn't post or something, because I'm just getting half of it, I think. So try to let me know the rest of it. I'll see what I can do to answer. Pet 'em All Farm says, howdy from Tennessee. Good to see you. Thanks for joining. We're a little slow starting off with the comments. Not a whole lot. Oh, here we go. Here's another one. This is Lizzie. Says, hey, my does are due today. They seem to be acting weird, but no fur pulling or nest building. I don't know how to tell if they are going to give birth. Well, there's no real way to tell for sure. They always seem to surprise me. If they're not hay stashing, and that's different than building a nest necessarily. Most of my does don't build a nest or pull fur until they have their babies. I mean, it's like right then. They build the nest, pull fur, have the babies and pull fur, like all at once. So I don't really... Most of the time it doesn't happen beforehand, but you can go out and check. One of the almost always telltale signs, throw a handful of straw in there, and if they pick it up and walk around with it hanging out both sides of their mouth, that's a really good sign that they're getting pretty close to it. If you're in doubt, you said they're due today, go ahead and put a nest box in there. It's not going to hurt anything. Just watch them over the next couple of days and see how they do. Grab a drink here real quick. Eric from Maryland, good to see you. Blessed with Pets says, going across the yard to my rabbit area with 8 cages to feed the single rabbit I have left. Well, it's better than no rabbits. I don't have any rabbits at the moment. I'm still working on getting some. Hopefully soon I'll get some rabbits lined out. Lillian says, I'm sorry, here is the full message. Okay, I have a doe bred to a proven buck 4 times this year, and every time she's faked it. Okay, I was kind of wondering if that might be the way it was going, but wasn't 100% sure. So every time you've bred this doe to a proven buck, she's a proven doe. She's had kits previously 3 times. bred at least 3 times and had kits previously. So what you're saying is that, she's just not giving birth, though, these 4 times you've bred her this year. There could be a number of things going on. It could be, I don't know if you have other does that you've bred to this buck that have had babies since. If it was real hot during the time you were trying to breed them, it could be that the buck went sterile. It's very possible that buck rabbits can go sterile when it gets above about 80, 85 degrees. It's not a guarantee, but it's a very common thing that happens to them. They'll regain. I mean, they'll be fine when it cools back down, but they could go temporarily sterile. So that could be your buck doing that, or how old is your rabbit? You didn't say that exactly. It could be that she's just getting older and she's just aging out. That would, I would say that's probably unlikely if she's under like 4 years old. If she's 4 years or older, it could be the age of the rabbit. There's no way to know for sure exactly what's causing it, but those are kind of the things that come to mind. It could be other things going on too, but those are probably the most common, most logical explanation. So hopefully, if there's more to it, I mean, I don't know if any of that helps or not. Hopefully it does. If there's more to it, let me know. We'll dive a little bit more into it. But those are, like I said, the top things that come to mind. The other things would be like if she's overweight, like extremely overweight, or the buck is extremely overweight. He could be sorry, getting distracted. If he's extremely overweight, that could cause problems too. But usually that's going to be more of an issue with he doesn't want to breed as opposed to not being able to breed successfully. So there's a couple of things. Verna's saying, has she gained weight? How old is she? Yeah, those are kinds of the questions I have too. So we'll see. We'll give you a chance to answer there. Larson Farms says, I had a silver fox litter. Older mom got 8 kits. 8th one was fully developed, and the 7th strayed away from the nest and got too cold. She ended up with 6, so 3 black and 3 blue silver fox. Well, that's not too bad. It's not uncommon to lose one when you have a litter. And that's not bad at all. You ended up with 6. You said one wasn't fully developed. Okay, that's interesting. That's kind of odd to happen, but still, you ended up with 6, so that's not terrible. Could be a lot worse. Congratulations on your new litter. Verna says, Chris seems to be running late. Hope all is well. Yeah, I'm doing fine. Can you guys hear me? Hopefully you can hear me. I'm going through things. I don't know why that just came up. I'm running late. I'm here. Let's give somebody a chance to. Oh, I know you guys have been responding. You can hear me. Brandon says, what's the oldest doe that you have bred successfully? And also, was that with a young buck or an older one? Oh boy, that's a lot. Okay, let's see. The oldest doe I bred successfully is probably about a 5-year-old doe. I think my last doe was about 5, maybe 6. I think she was probably closer to 5. And my buck he was fairly old too, though. He was probably about 4 or 5 years old at that point too. So they were both older rabbits. That's fairly old in a rabbit world anyway. Before she finally started kind of shutting down. I think that's probably about as old as I've had rabbits breed. What I usually find is when does start hitting about 5 years old, 5-ish, it's almost like they just stop producing real well. Their litter sizes shrink down, or they start losing litters, and just lots of things start going wrong, and I usually give up at that point. Larson Farms. Also, just filled my incubator with 120 jumbo wild eggs. Awesome. Well, good luck with your hatch. I hope that goes well. I got some eggs in the incubator now. They'll go into lockdown on Saturday, which puts it real close. I mean, they're going to be hatching out and in the brooder box when I head out for QuailCon. So I don't know if I'll have to find somebody to take care of them. I don't know yet if my wife is going to be able to come with me or not. If she's not going to be able to come with me, she can take care of them. If she's going to be able to come with me to QuailCon, the deciding factor, and of course, we could use more prayer. I know I always ask for prayer, but we could use more prayer for my mother-in-law. She's in the hospital right now dealing with AFib. Her heartbeat is just racing. They've actually got it down now. Today, she went in day before yesterday, and it was really high, and they gave her some medication. They could get it it would go down, and then it'd go back up, go down and go back up, and they finally got it stabilized today. Blood pressure looks good, all that kind of stuff. They're probably going to send her home tomorrow. But she's also dealing with chemotherapy right now. She had cancer, and so far she's looking pretty good, but the chemotherapy is definitely weighing on her. She's 86 years old, 87 years old. And she's in good health, but it's chemotherapy takes a toll on your body. So to have all this stuff kind of compiling up, definitely need some prayer for her. Anyway, that may be the holdup. That may be why my wife can't make it to QuailCon with me, because she may be sticking around to keep an eye on her mother, help her mother out. So any prayers you guys can send our way, we would appreciate. Eric says, thinking of buying some quail from an auction. How long should I keep them separate from the other quail before integrating them? That's a good question. I mean, it's good practice probably. Especially if you've got like special quail. I mean, if your quail are really nice birds and, it's hard to come by quail or anything like that in your area, then it'd be good practice to keep them separated for at least 30 days. Just quarantine them, keep them all separate so you don't have to worry about any kind of disease passing back and forth. I tend to be a little bit more, I'm a gambler, I guess, take more chances than that. And I would just throw them right in and just not worry about it myself. But, it's probably best practice to separate them out. Especially, like I said, if it's one of those things where, if they did bring a disease into your flock and killed all your birds, would it be the end of the world? If it wouldn't be the end of the world, then, you can go ahead and mix them right in if you want to. Chances are, though, I would probably keep them separate. I'm assuming these are adult birds you're going to be buying, and you've got adult birds right now. You live in, North America, where it's summertime right now. The days are pretty long. I might keep them separate until fall, when the days start getting shorter. The roosters stop crowing, the hens stop laying eggs, and then it'll be a lot easier to mingle together at that point and not have any kind of issues with aggression and stuff. Blessed with Pets says, when you have rabbits, do you ever brush them? The only time I ever really brush them would be if they're molting and they're not molting, they blow their coat, shed all their fur off and then grow a new one in. Not all of it. They don't get naked, but hopefully you get what I'm saying. Whenever they're going through that process, sometimes it kind of gets hung up and they start looking kind of ratty. So I'll help them brush that out, especially going into summertime. Help them brush that out sometimes, but that's pretty rare. I don't do it very often. Seth says, I just got started raising meat pigs. Any experience? Nope, not a bit of experience with pigs. I can't have pigs here. I live in town, and that would be over the limit, over the line for sure. I guarantee somebody would complain if I tried to put some pigs out in the backyard. Let's see. Todd says, we go in lockdown on Sunday. Well, good luck with your hatch. Hope it goes well. Blessed with Pets says, this might sound weird, but the only success I've had with breeding is I bred them to 2 bucks at the same time. That's how I got my only 2 litters. I'm hoping to get some does for my buck that I have now. Well, it doesn't sound strange necessarily, but doesn't sound strange necessarily, but I don't know, breeding them to 2 bucks at the same time. I think what you probably mean is you bred them to one and then bred them to the other, not at the exact same time would be my guess. But yeah, I don't know. That's a little odd, I guess, but who knows? Todd says, yeah, let's see, your eggs going into lockdown on Sunday are 60 fab fee from my shire. Awesome. Well, again, good luck with your hatch. I hope it goes well. Jupiter, good to see you. Says, hope you have a great hatch. Well, thank you. I sure it will be, but we'll see. I've actually been pretty lazy with this hatch. I put them in the incubator. Well, it's been 2 weeks ago, and I haven't even checked on them. I just let them go. And they're in the egg turner. I just let them go. We're going to see how it goes. Verna says, I have a feeling Chris is not going to make it tonight. Why are you saying Chris is not going to make it? What's going on, Verna? Why are you not seeing me? You're not hearing me. Are you the only one? I think everybody else is. Somebody let me know. Can you guys hear me? Can you see me okay? Is Verna the only one that can't see me, can't hear me? Doesn't think I'm showing up? Is that it? Have I lost? I'm seeing your guys' comments. Huh. Strange. I don't know what's going on. I don't know why Verna can't hear or see me. Let's see. Okay, good. Thank you. Appreciate you guys are saying you hear me fine. Good. It would be just me. I'd be 15 minutes into a live broadcast where I'm talking away and not a person can hear me. Let's see. Is that Bray the Extreme, Bray the Extreme, or something like that. It says, just had some quail. One of my chicks has one shut eye and spayed legs and not drying. Oh, that's unfortunate. It's probably a late hatch, would be my guess. One shut eye, splayed legs, and not drying out. That most of the time when you run into problems like that, that's kind of a not necessarily a deformity, but splayed legs is usually an issue with they can't get traction, so they can't get their legs, the tendons stretched out in their legs. But you couple that with the other things not drying out, closed eye. It's probably just overly weak. And my guess it was a late hatch because that's usually where it happens. Those birds that hatch really late tend to have that kind of problem of just getting going. And a lot of times they just don't make it. I don't know that there's a good solution for it. I'm kind of the opinion you kind of let survival of the fittest. If it's the only one, it's not doing well, I think I might just put it out of its misery. But I don't know how long you had to deal with it. Give it a little bit more time if it's still in the incubator, and maybe it'll recover. It could. But my guess is probably not. Those are a little tricky. If you have issues like that, like regularly, like you have a lot of birds with that issue, check your incubator and make sure it's reading temperature correctly, because that's usually a sign of your incubator is reading a little bit high or it's running a little bit low. So it says like 100 degrees, but it may only be 98. And that's what could cause those birds to hatch out late and therefore have all those problems. Bob Romano says, hey, Chris, this summer I haven't seen any black soldier flies under my quail hutch like I normally do here in Boston. Is it because of the drought and the high heat? Are there any in your area? They've definitely not been as popular as they have been in the past. That's for sure. I do have some black soldier fly. I saw a bunch of them early spring, and I thought, oh yeah, they're going to be all over the place. But it's not nearly as many as what I normally see. Yeah, you're right. It's way down. It probably is due to the drought. I really don't know. Where are we at here? I think I got your question answered. Sorry, I'm getting through everybody telling me I'm doing fine. Let's see. Rick says, you're the reason I have quail now. I've only got 40, but I'm going to need some more. Well, I'm glad I could help. I don't know if that's help or not. I don't know if you're blaming me or thanking me or how it goes, but hey, I'm glad the 40 of them, that's a pretty good number. So I'm glad that it's going well for you. All right. Square Body LT, good to see you. Oh, you're welcome. I'm just going to call you Bray because I don't know what the rest of that's supposed to be. Bray the Extreme, maybe? Is that what that is? You're welcome. Bernie says, do quail actually go broody? Because I have a hen that is acting broody. Yeah, it can definitely happen. Larson Farms is saying that. Yes, Bernie, but it is rare. It's a rare occasion, but it does happen. Yeah, it could definitely happen. I think it's probably more common if you have them in like an aviary type setting where they have access to the ground and a little bit more natural hiding places and all that kind of stuff than it is in a cage system. But yeah, it's still fairly rare. They don't always do a really good job of hatching their young either, but it is possible. It happens. People have had it happen before. Excuse me. Petamal Farm says soldier flies have been awesome here in Middle Tennessee. Yeah, they're still here. I've got, usually I have a bunch of them under the quail hutches, and they're still there. They're doing a decent job, but it's not as much as what I normally see. Angela says that her black soldier fly bin has gone crazy. I just pressure canned my first test batch, and it went well. What? It's the only way I can think to save them for this winter. You're pressure canning black soldier fly? That seems odd. I'm not really sure why you would do that. That's strange. Andy Rabbits says, my daughter and hen sit on hatched. My daughter had a hen. That makes more sense. My daughter had a hen sit on hatched 2 times this year. Sit and hatched 2 times this year. Good grief. Can't read, apparently. Petamal Farm says, soldier fly makes food for my ducks. Yeah, they are. They are good food, that's for sure, for your ducks or your chickens, or even the quail will eat them sometimes, but more so the quail, the chicken, or the chickens and ducks. Jennifer says, question, is 52% humidity too high? Nope, that's a good humidity level. really what I shoot for, I don't pay a whole lot of attention to humidity before I go into lockdown. I used to, and if you want to be like you really want to nerd out on it and really want to be involved in the incubation process, that's about right. Until you get up to lockdown. When you go into lockdown, you do want to bump it up just a little bit more, probably up to about the 65 to 75% range. You really don't want to go over 75%. 80% is okay, but you don't want to go over 80%. When you start getting up that high, then you start having birds you lose because they start drowning in the eggshell and stuff. So 50 up to about 55 to 60%, somewhere right around in there, up until lockdown, and then 65 to 75%. I like to put it right around 70%, somewhere right around in there during lockdown. But don't stress too much about humidity. It's not as important as temperature. Temperature is way more important. Marty says, hello, everyone. Good to see you, Marty. Regenerative Life says, my quail hatched on 7/22, and by now I should hear the male vocalize, but nothing. I have 10 quail. Looks like maybe all female. Time to order more eggs. Need a male. Could be. You'd probably be. Most people would consider you incredibly lucky to hatch out a hatch of quail that's all hens. They hatched on 7/22. Where are we at on that? That's give them a little bit longer. I mean, that's not. Yeah, it's probably about time you should start hearing them crow. But sometimes quail take a little bit longer to mature, up to about 10 weeks. So give them just a little bit more. See, I don't know what kind. If they're, are you getting eggs? I guess would be the next question. If you're getting eggs, then yeah, the rooster should definitely be crowing. But if you're not getting eggs, wait till you start getting eggs from them before you count them all out. And I don't know if you have are they jumbo browns or what kind of quail do you have? Are they feather sexable? Probably not, because you're saying looks like maybe they're all females. You don't know for sure, so they're probably not feather sexable ones. But yeah, I'd give them another week or two before I really consider them all females. Jupiter says, hey, Petamall Farm, do you have quail? I'm regularly in Middle Tennessee and would love to get some hatching eggs to diversify my gene pool. Petamall Farm says, likely not enough light. Well, that could be. You're right. Regenerative Life, if you don't have enough light on them, that's about 16 hours a day. You would need to make sure that you do that, because they won't start crowing or start laying eggs unless they have enough light. Oh, they're jumbo browns and you're not getting eggs. Well, you should be able to feather sex them if they're jumbo browns. The roosters are going to have kind of a rust color on the top of their breast and kind of a clean breast. The hens are going to be speckled and usually all white with speckles on them. I've got videos on sexing quail if you need it. You can look it up. But yeah, the jumbo browns, you can definitely tell which ones are roosters, which ones are hens just by looking at them. So you should be able to check that and see that pretty well. Angela says, on my fear we'll lose chick feed soon. I'm working on ways to feed my flock without a tractor supply. That's the reason for pressure canning the larvae. Interesting. Okay. It didn't turn them all to just mush when you tried to pressure can them. That would be my concern, is that they would just it would just be like, it just sounds so disgusting. The thought, it would just be like pudding, like black soldier fly pudding. I don't know. That's horrible thought. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it works. I don't know. I would think maybe dehydrating them might be a good option too. Might probably be better, but I don't know. Maybe not. Regenerative Life says they're outdoors on the back patio. They get plenty of light. They do chirp though. Well, they may be all hens, but again, with them being jumbo browns, you can feather sex them. You can look at them and tell which ones are roosters, which ones are hens. If you need help with that, you can go to my channel page and look for 3 easy ways to sex a quail, and I've got directions on how to do all that. But you should be able to tell. Yeah, Angela says turning to mush was my concern on the black soldier fly larva, but they held up great. Good. Glad to hear that. Just curious, how long do you pressure can black soldier fly larva? And where did you find a recipe for that? I mean, what made you think of pressure canning? Is that like a 15-minute, or is that a more like corn or something where it's like a 30-minute? I don't know. I'm kind of curious. Yeah, Jupiter's got the same question. Says, Angela, how long did you pressure can them for? I've never heard of that before. Pressure canning. Let's see. Pressure can black soldier fly larva. Look at that. You can actually buy canned blacks, but those look like they're dehydrated, not pressure canned. I don't know. I'll have to look that up later. I got too many things going on right now with you guys talking to you. You went 1 hour, huh? Pressure canned for an hour. Interesting. Vicky says, hope you're having a good day. I am so far. Thank you. I appreciate that. So 1 hour for pints. Where did you come up with that? I mean, how'd you come up with pressure canning for an hour? Did you just make that up? I mean, like, I don't mean make that up, but I mean, was that just like, well, an hour should be long enough? Or did you actually find something? Did you get this idea from somebody else? I just can't. I'd never even thought of pressure canning them for some reason. Square Body LT says, I was watching one of your other older videos earlier. You were using a little giant incubator. What are you using now? I'm probably going to get one soon for quail and chickens. Still using the same incubator, the same little giant incubator. I've had it for years and it still works. Still works great. I mean, I kind of want to upgrade to a new incubator and get one of the newer, fancier ones just to check it out. But at the same time, it works. It keeps working. It just won't die. So, Chris P says, "Hey, Wild Man, is that talking to somebody called Wild Man in here? Or are you talking to me?" Says, "How are things going?" Well, if you're talking to me, I don't know if I'm the Wild Man or not, but it's going pretty well. I mean, other than, like I said, my mother-in-law's got some problems right now, and always a little bit of prayers for her health would be appreciated. But but things are going okay for me. Chris P says 1 hour for pints and maybe some kind of shellfish. Other than that, no. What? Anyway, oh wow. Blessed with Pet says, I was just strolling up in the dark trying to clip my rabbit's nails. Then halfway through realized my dad just got electricity out here, struggling, not strolling in the dark. And there was a shop light. Oh yeah, that's how things go for me. It's usually about the time I finish a project, I'm like, oh, you know what? It would have been a lot easier had I just done it that way. Jennifer says, is there a recipe for canning quail eggs and storing them on the shelf? Yeah, I did a video on pickled quail eggs. I don't know. I don't think you can. I don't know of any recipes other than pickling them that would make them shelf stable to store on the shelf. But you can do that for sure. I put up a video on that because I had a lot of people asking about it, but I don't really like pickled quail eggs or pickled eggs at all. So I don't really keep up with I don't remember the process right off the top of my head, how long you have to can them. Oh, there's a brine, pretty vinegar heavy. And I want to say it's like, I don't remember. I think it was water bath canning them for like 30 minutes. Anyway, I did a video on it. You can go back and search pickled quail eggs on my channel page and you can find one and there'll be, the recipe I used. It was probably good, but I don't really like pickled eggs. So I don't know. I can't tell you if it's the best recipe or not. You can water glass eggs. You can, there's a lot of different ways to store eggs. You can freeze them, crack them and put them in like little, I don't know, maybe ice cube trays or something like that and freeze them that way. There's lots of different ways you can store eggs. I don't know how well water glassing quail eggs would work. They're such a small egg. I'm just not sure how well that would work, but that's a couple of options for you. Regenerative Life says, I make my quail hutches out clear cut in half food grade IBC totes. The dimensions are 4 foot by 3 foot by 24 inches. How many jumbo can I raise in these hutches? So, okay, clear cut in half food grade IBC totes. They're 4 foot by 3 foot. So, yeah, what you want to go with is 4 foot by 3 foot. That's the, so 12 square feet is the floor space. You can kind of figure about a bird per square foot. You can go a little bit denser than that. You can go up to one bird every, half, like double that. So you can get away with probably like 20 or 24 in there if you want to. I'm curious though, what kind of bottom do you have on that? Are they going to be on the bottom of that tote and you're going to have to clean that out? Because if that's the case, I probably wouldn't go over about 10 because it's going to get incredibly messy in there. When you're talking about those higher densities, that's when you got like wire flooring where the droppings will fall through. But any more than that, you're gonna end up having to clean that out like every day. It's gonna get very, very messy in there very, very quick. Jupiter says, Angela, you're awesome. I applaud your thought process. Yeah, me too. James says, late again. Building my grow out for 60. Man, I suck at cutting wire. Yeah, cutting wire is never fun. I don't know. It's not my favorite thing to do either. Get some big bolt cutters. It makes it a whole lot easier than those little hand cutters. But that's okay. Don't worry about being late. We don't keep track of attendance. Chris P says, no, I was just saying that you're not going to be pressure canning anything for an hour in pint jars for anything other than shellfish. And even that is a bit questionable and come from old recipes. Interesting. It says pint jars are not paint jars. Stupid voice recognizer. Yeah. Okay, I get what you're saying. No, so you're saying that no recipe calls for an hour of pressure canning other than shellfish recipes, and those are really old. You're not really sure how, if those are actually valuable or viable recipes or not. Okay. I don't disagree with you necessarily, but she's not eating the black soldier fly larva, so I don't know that I'd worry about it too much. All right, Katrina, good to see you. Says, hello to everyone from Gilroy, California. I'm excited to see everyone at QuailCon. We're excited to see you too. Angela says, thank you, Jupiter. I'm really worried about the cost and availability of chicken feed. Yeah, I'm not terribly worried about it. I mean, it is a pretty common thing. I mean, there's lots of people out there. Sorry, just checking to make sure that wasn't urgent, whatever it was that came through. It's pretty common that, check the time, we're at 30 minutes in, we're good. It's pretty common. Chicken feed's a pretty common thing. Lots of people need it. So I don't think it's going to be gone anytime soon. But, just like everything else, I mean, it's going up in price. It's getting, there are some little difficulties with availability for sure. I noticed you mentioned something about, I think it was you that said something about Tractor Supply earlier. Trying to feed them without Tractor Supply available or something. But look for a feed store if you have one in your area, a local feed store, or better yet, a local feed mill if you can find one. You're going to get way better product at a way cheaper price than you would at Tractor Supply. And that may be another option. But also remember, even if like some of those things, chicken feed's probably going to be the last thing to go because so many people raise chickens. That feed's going to be available for a long time. The quail feed, like game bird feed, it may become a little bit hard to find at times. Turkey starter is another option. And again, it may be a little bit hard to find it sometimes because those just aren't as common. There's not as much demand for them. So, the supply may become harder to come by for them. But I think chicken feed's going to be, I'm not too worried about it disappearing. If it does, I'm going to have some problems, that's for sure. But I don't think it will. Katrina says all meat goes longer than an hour in a pressure cannery. Yeah, I'm not into canning meat. I probably should get into it. I probably shouldn't. I think you're right. I think meat does go longer than an hour. If I remember right, chicken's like an hour and a half, isn't it? I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong on that one. But I don't can meat, so I don't know what a good processing time for meat is. I probably should get into it. It just seems like, I don't know why. I've just got this mental hang up on canned meat. It just seems like a weird thing to me. And I just need to get over it. Regenerative Life says, no, I cut the bottoms out and have replaced them with a plastic 1/2-inch hardware cloth. And I use large refrigerator drip pan underneath as my poop tray. I have a micro fan in each hutch for airflow. Sounds like you got a pretty good plan there then. Yeah, you can pack those pretty densely then, probably up to 20, 24 birds. 24 may be pushing it, but it's not by much. I think it would work pretty well. Chris P says, crack corn in my area is the same price as chicken crumble. Anybody else seen this? Yeah, I believe it. James says, water glassing quail eggs is no different than chicken eggs. Yeah, you're probably right. I just don't know. I don't know. Try it out and see. Porcupine Acres says, what's a good hatch rate for quail? We're averaging 75 to 80%. That's a pretty good hatch rate. I think you're doing great. I think anything over about 70%, I'd call a really good hatch rate. And I don't know. I think it kind of varies how people calculate what their hatch rate is. Some people will say, well, I got, we went into lockdown and we had so many eggs that didn't develop, so we don't even count those. We're calling, I just, however many eggs I put in when I start, that's how many eggs I calculate my hatch rate with. And yeah, maybe some of them didn't develop, but just because they didn't develop doesn't mean they weren't fertile to begin with. I don't even mess with any of that. I just say, this is how many eggs I set, however many of them hatch, that's my hatch rate. And 70%, anything more than that's a good one. Angela says meat times are 75 minutes for pints and 90 minutes for quarts. Okay. I don't know. Katrina says pressure canning. I'm jumping into the middle of the conversation, but for canning, please visit the website for the National Center for Home Preservation for canning info that is tested and safe. Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. We're talking about she was canning up black soldier fly larvae to save up for quail food throughout the year. So that's what started this whole conversation about canning. But you're right. Don't just take our word for it if we're saying like, oh, meat's 45 minutes, 75 minutes, or 90 minutes. Don't take our word for it. Look up a trusted recipe. National Center for Home Preservation. I always have such a hard time with that name of that. That's a good place. Ball Blue Book is another one. That's a fantastic resource. You can look up pressure canning recipes and water bath canning recipes in there for all kinds of things. Scrap says, mosquitoes. I have a light in my coop 14 hours, and I realize at night mosquitoes have been slipping into the coop at night by the thousands past the netting, eating them alive. I put a fan tonight. Oh man, I'm sorry to hear that. That's the one good thing about the drought is we have not had a mosquito problem this year. We don't get them as bad as other places do. I mean, we get mosquitoes, but they're not to the point where they're a huge nuisance for the animals or anything like that. At that point, you might look at, mosquito dunks and things like that you can put in like the standing water where they breathe, and that will help keep them under control. I don't know good solutions for getting rid of mosquitoes when they're that bad. Woman of Spirit says canning meat pint 75 minutes, quarts 90 minutes. I've been canning meat for many years. Well, there you go. Blessed with Pet says Mini Rex fur is just the softest. I love it, especially since I've started brushing regularly. Yeah, we went to a pet store. Oh, when was it? Last week. I can't remember why. We were out and about doing something, killing some time, and we had to go. And there was a pet store nearby here in town. So we went over there, and we're looking at the rabbits they've got, and they had some Rex rabbits, mini Rex rabbits. And my wife says, "What kind of rabbits are those?" I said, "Those are Rex rabbits." I said, "Have you ever petted a Rex rabbit?" She said, "No." I said, their fur is unlike really any other. Just go feel them, go pet them. And she pet them. She's like, "Oh, wow, these are nice." Then she was like, do Rex rabbits get big? Can we have them for meat rabbits? It's like, yeah, there's a standard Rex rabbit. They make a decent meat rabbit, but probably not the best one. They're not terrible. They're okay. But Gas Mary K, hello from Katy, Texas. I was gifted 100 GGBW eggs. What's GGBW? I forget. That are incubating. I don't know how to house them. Will they really kill each other? Well, I need to keep pairs separate. How? Let's see. How to know who's paired with who? So those are Georgia Giant Bob Whites, aren't they? That's what you're talking about. GGBW. I'm not a Bob White expert, but I would say, they're pretty similar. I think somebody in here has raised Bob White before, and they could probably answer that. They're pretty similar as far as I don't think you need to pair them up necessarily, but I think you can keep them in big groups. I don't know. I've never raised Bob White, so I don't know the answer to that one. I'm sorry. But somebody has raised Bob Whites in here, and they can probably tell you. It seems to me like everybody I've seen that raises Bob Whites raises them in big groups anyway. Petamall Farm says, well, we dry and powder our excess quail eggs. Well, there you go. There's another idea. Scrap 5000 says, continued. What does everyone else do for mosquitoes? Anybody else got a good solution for mosquitoes? I don't know. I don't know the answer to that one. If you have standing water around, of course, don't leave standing water sitting around. Mosquito dunks work for that, or fish. If you have a place that holds water all the time, put some fish in it, even goldfish. They'll eat the mosquitoes. I don't know the best thing for mosquitoes. Katrina says, I would dry soldier fly larvae. Yeah, that's a pretty good suggestion as well. I think that's how I would go with it too. Petamall Farm says, can dehydrate eggs with a dehydrator if you have temperature control of 135 degrees. Well, there you go. James Dahlheim says, seriously doubt the National Center for Food Preservation has a guidance for bug larvae. Yeah, you're probably right. It probably doesn't. I looked up pressure candy black soldier fly larva, and I'm not seeing. No, this is like the impact of thermal and high pressure treatments on. I don't know. Maybe that is about that because it's talking about them being an important food source. I don't know. I'll have to look at that later. We're not getting into it right now. Chris P says no. I don't know what the no's for. Oh, wait, that's probably Steve. Steve O, is it okay to ship quail eggs long distances with the high temps that we have been experiencing? That's a good question. I would think that it's probably not the best time of year to be shipping quail eggs unless you can get them to ship really fast. If you can get them there in like a day, then yeah, it's fine. And it probably depends a little bit on the shipper. I don't know. Honestly, I don't ship eggs all the time. We need, is Brandon from Whiskey Tango Farms in here, still in here? Do you have good luck shipping eggs during this time of year? Don't know. Regenerative Life says, I added a sandbox in my quail hutch and added diatomaceous earth with the sand. The quail love sand bass, and to lay out in the sandbox, they seem more happy now. Well, good. Glad to hear that. I don't like to use diatomaceous earth for a couple of reasons, but one of them, especially don't like to use it around my birds because it is incredibly dusty, and it has been shown to cause some kind of lung issues with birds. So you might be careful with that if you ever notice any kinds of issues with your birds, like wheezing, coughing, sneezing up blood or something like that. You might remove the diatomaceous earth. It may not be a big issue. I don't know. Blessed with Pets says, my 4 o'clock flowers are blooming right now. So beautiful and so fragrant. Well, awesome. That's always nice when you have flowers blooming. Andy Rabbit says, I have Rex rabbits. Yes, they get big and soft. They do for sure. They have some of the nicest fur. It's incredible. Casimir says, Casimir K, that's who it is, says, thanks. I've never even raised quail before, so this is definitely a learning experience. Yeah, I get it. It's always a learning experience. So you're asking about pairing them up together. Who has raised bob whites before? What can you see? I think bob whites go. Let's see, bob whites raised in. Yeah, it looks like people raise. I mean, there's links anyway. I didn't read into them in detail, but it's talking about like people raising them in groups of 500 to 1,000 using big aviary type settings. So, yeah, it looks like they're probably going to be pretty similar to Caternix. I really don't know exactly, but they probably are going to be pretty similar. Let's see. Jalopy Guy says for mosquitoes, he says, build bat houses for mosquito control. Yeah, that's probably a good idea. We have bats that fly around here like every night. I don't know where they roost around here. I don't have any houses out, but they're just naturally here. And they do keep the mosquitoes and bug populations down. James also says purple martins are great for mosquito control. They like barnwood for nesting. So there's another suggestion. Natural control of mosquitoes. Regenerative Life says, I see people putting soldier fly larvae in a sun oven and drying them out, but not canning them. Yeah, that was a new one for me. I've never heard of anybody canning them. But Andy Rabbit says, I got 2 shipments of eggs of 36 each. One hatch was 5 and the next was 6 with the one that had to be culled. I wish I would have waited to get them shipped. Yeah, I was thinking might be difficult to get them shipped this time of year, especially if the shipping is going to take more than like a day, if you can't get them just overnighted, which is going to be incredibly expensive. May not be worth doing. But we're getting close. I mean, we're going into September, so it's going to start cooling down. Regenerative Life says, I hear Australian giant quail are good eating. How can you get them? I don't know. I don't know anything about Australian giant quail. Let's look those up. Let's see what they are. I'm getting like Caternix quail pictures and things whenever I search for Australian giant quail. And they're calling it a brown quail. Well, there is one called a brown quail native to Australia. I don't know. They kind of look like Coturnix quail to me. So are they just pitching you a different one as Coturnix quail? I don't know. Maybe the same thing. Because everything I'm looking up on them is coming up. It looks like, yeah, Queensland Company has supersized quail breeding giant versions of the usually diminutive game bird, but it looks like a Coturnix quail. It doesn't look like a. Oh, and I can't even get to the whole story to read it. It's like you got to pay to read the story or something. But I don't know how big they say they're getting. So anyway, that's something you're going to have to look into. I don't know. Good question. Sorry, I can't answer that one for you. You caught me off guard on that. I think every once in a while you do see, like, every once in a while somebody comes out with, like, they have a Coturnix quail and they're jumbos. They're pretty good sized birds, but they call them something completely different. So you hear like some made up name like super duper big birds or something. You don't know what they are. So you've been like Andy Rabbit says, maybe Goliath's been hearing about them. So anyway, you don't know what they are. You think it's some kind of new bird, and it's really just a jumbo Coturnix, maybe a different color strain of them or something. But this may be a totally different thing. I don't know. I'm not familiar with them. I haven't really heard. Oh, excuse me, yawning. It's been a long week. James says getting anything out of Australia is a non-starter just now. So, yeah, nothing coming from Australia right now, huh? Are they on lockdown and can't ship anything out? It's pretty much like everywhere, isn't it? You can't ship anything out of anywhere, it seems like right now. Everything's delayed shipping, can't get it in stock. It's crazy. Are we out of topics or out of things to discuss? We got like 14 minutes left. Not quite 14 minutes. More like, right at 14 minutes. Give it a minute here for the comments to come in. Again, this is times where I should usually have a topic to discuss, shouldn't I? See, I did have something to discuss. Something was going on. I can't remember what it was. Hey, G. Rubens, good to see you. Says just arrived saying hello. Well, hello to you. Glad you could stop by. Going to be quiet for just a minute. It's going to be awkward and weird. Gary says, hey, Chris, think you're right that those Australian birds are just jumbo birds. Or jumbo brown, is what you said. Yeah, well, the one I saw was like, it was a white bird. But, or maybe it looked almost like an albino version of a jumbo brown. Like it still had the spots on it and stuff. But, so who knows? I don't know. Maybe not. G. Rubin says, thanks for all your content. Well, you're welcome. Thank you for watching it. Porcupine Acres wants to know what's a healthy snack for your meat rabbits. Oh boy, there's a whole bunch of them. A whole bunch of things you could feed your meat rabbits. These are, again, treats, snacks, not their normal diet. You don't want to feed this stuff to them all the time, and you especially want to go slowly and introduce this stuff in just small amounts if they're not used to eating it on a regular basis. But like in the wintertime, black oil sunflower is really good. It's real high in fat, so it'll help them. I wouldn't feed it too much in the summer because it can, high fat content can make them gain some weight, and it's already so hot out. You don't want them to get too hot. So I would stay away from that in the summertime maybe, but in the wintertime it's really good. It's a good treat to feed them. Lots of things that rabbits like, and most of it's going to be fine. I would stay away from super sugary things. Do like things like fruits in small amounts. It's really probably easier to stay. These are the things you don't want to feed your rabbits. Stay away from nightshade plants. So like tomatoes are a nightshade, potatoes are a nightshade, peppers are a nightshade. You can feed the fruit like a tomato. You can give them parts of a tomato, but don't give them the plant. Other than that, remember that, the rabbits are herbivores. So, like broadleaf plantain is good. Just grass you pull out of your yard, probably not the best, but they do like clover. They like broadleaf plantain, willow tree. There's all kinds of stuff that you can give them as treats and snacks. Katrina says you could tell a Max story. I guess I could. I don't have any good stories about Max right now. We're trying to break him of chasing cats because I'm afraid he's going to kill somebody's cat on their front porch in front of their kids and cause a big issue. So we're trying to break him from doing that. We've been taking him on walks, and He's fine when he's on the leash. We just walk right past the cats. He's okay. I mean, he'll look, but he doesn't. It's just that when he's not on the leash, that's when it becomes a problem. So we'll see how that goes. We're working on it. Haven't decided if he's coming with me to QuailCon yet or not. He may not. Andy Rabbit says, it's been a long week. Have my granddaughter this school year. The bus has not dropped her off 2 times this week. Didn't drop her off. Would they just forget to drop her off? Didn't drive by your house or something? That seems kind of crazy. Blessed with Pets says, they're black topping on the road. What? They are black topping the road, but they've been building up dirt for 2 weeks, and it's going through a rain spell, so we can't get out of our driveway because it's too muddy. So no packages either. Oh, yeah, that sucks. Gatsky Farms wants to know what topic you're discussing at QuailCon. Well, I'm planning on talking about quail aggression and what causes it, what you can do about it, some of those kinds of things. I'm open for other topics if other people want to hear other things. That just seems to be kind of a really common one. That I think people that are newer to keeping quail especially just may not be aware of and may not know how to fix. Regenerative Life says, I have a lot of mixed bird feed seed for finches, cardinals, etc. Can I feed this to my quail? You probably can, but I wouldn't make that the only thing that you feed them. You might try to grind it up a little bit too, unless they've got access to like a sandbox where they can get some grit or something. But yeah, you can absolutely feed that to your birds. Casimary K says, do you worm your meat rabbits? No, I don't ever worm them. Unless they have worms, I don't see any reason to worm them, and I've never had any issue with them having worms. G. Rubin says, do young hens' eggs tend to get a bit larger as they get older? I've seen some jumbo eggs that I've received that are much larger than mine. It doesn't look like, I'm sorry, I got distracted there. No, not really. Within reason, yes. Sometimes when they first start laying, you're going to get some really small eggs. You're also going to get some really big eggs. You're going to get some weird, like eggs with no shell on them, that kind of stuff. And that kind of levels out as they get a little older, but a little older is like a couple of weeks. After they start laying, like 2 weeks after they start laying, usually that's pretty consistent egg laying at that point. I wouldn't expect their eggs to get much bigger than that. You will get varying sizes of eggs from your birds. Some of them will be a little bit bigger than others. And not necessarily it's not like one bird lays the exact same size egg every single time. Sometimes that bird will lay a smaller egg or a bigger egg. So you're going to get varying sizes of them, but I wouldn't expect to get by and large, much larger eggs as they get much older. Probably not. And if you want the absolute biggest eggs out of your birds, you're going to have to look at selective breeding, and you're going to have to call very, very hard. And calling means remove birds that are not making the cut from your flock. So, it's a lot of work. It can be done, and you can get much larger eggs than that. But usually, I just don't think it's worth doing if you're just like a backyard. You're just raising them for meat and for your family. Those people that you're seeing, you've seen some eggs. I've seen some jumbo eggs I've received that are much larger than mine. If you're ordering from MyShire Farm or any kind of commercial quail producer, they're culling very hard. They're really monitoring that to make sure that they're getting the absolute best that they can get out to their customers. So you got to keep that in mind. You're going to get the best of the best in a sense by ordering those eggs in. Gary says the phone is dying. Got to go. Well, you have a good night too, Gary. Thanks for stopping by. Let's see. Petamall Farm says, any success marketing your rabbit urine? With fertilizer harder to find, many seem interested. I haven't tried. Not recently. I've sold a few bags of, not rabbit urine, but rabbit manure. It's got probably some urine in it, but, rabbit manure. I've sold that before, but not on a large scale. Haven't really tried. G. Rubin says, my hens are laying regularly, but not large. Okay, I think that was part of what we just talked about. The question you asked about are they going to get bigger as they get older? Back Porch Prepper says, let's see, I built a 3-tier quail hutch using Terry's plans from Koternik's Quarter. They are 2 feet by 3 feet on each tier. What is the max number for each tier? Boy, that's the second time that somebody's asked about that tonight. That's a pretty common question. I don't mean that I'm irritated about it. I'm just saying maybe I should change my question to how many quail can you fit? My topic for QuailCon, how many quail can you fit in a certain area? Okay, so they're 2 foot by 3 foot. So that means that they are 6 square feet. Just look at the floor space of each one. That's all you need because quail are ground-dwelling birds. So 6 square feet you can figure in a cage system that has wire flooring. You can get probably 1 bird for every 2 birds per square foot. Let's put it that way. That's probably about as much as you want to do. So about 12. You might be able to go up to 15. You might be able to get 15 in something like that. But that's probably about right. Yeah. Katrina says comfrey is something. I think you're saying you can feed that to rabbits. Yeah, comfrey would be something you could feed to your rabbits for sure. Let's see. Petamal Farm says our tomatoes are over 9 feet high with rabbit fertilizer. It is fantastic fertilizer. I agree. G. Rubin says, also, I heard that the hen's eggs patterns tend to stay the same so you can identify which egg came from which hen. Is that true? You know, it might be. I don't pay that much attention to my eggs and try to figure out which bird laid which egg. I've heard that too, and I just haven't paid much attention to know that they're exactly the same. That's kind of interesting. I got a bunch of eggs in the incubator right now. I should go through and look and see if any of them look exactly the same. I don't know if that's true or not. We're gonna have to look into that now. You got me. I gotta make a note of that somewhere. I gotta look that up. Here, I'll just type it in here. Quail egg pattern remains the same. Okay. Okay, we'll take a look at that later. I'll have to look into that, see if that's true, and maybe shoot video on it. Blessed with Pets says romaine lettuce is a favorite for my rabbits. A little bit of carrot and banana. They absolutely love apple. They can eat every part of the apple. Yeah, you're right. They like apple. They like all that stuff. But all that stuff you're talking about right there, carrot, romaine lettuce, well, not so much romaine lettuce, but carrot and apple. What else did you say? Banana. Those are all really high in sugar. So you want to go really low. I mean, you don't want to give them too much of that stuff. A little bit as a treat every once in a while is okay. Romaine lettuce is pretty high in fiber, so go real light on the romaine lettuce. Don't go overly crazy with that either. And don't feed iceberg lettuce. Stay away from iceberg lettuce completely. Blessed with Pets says, I'm still struggling with potty training my puppy. Oh, you should have that done by now. I mean, that's like a 2-day thing. You should have it done. And I'm not picking on you. I don't mean it like that. But look at it. I mean, I can't, it's hard for me to tell you right here, like how to potty train your dog and get it done. I think we talked about it last time. Look it up. Look up a video. Somebody will talk about it, but it shouldn't be that hard. You should be able to get it done. Andy says, don't drive by my house. I don't know what that means. Why would we not want to drive by your house? Let's see. Oh, here we go. Ding something. Ding Batao. I don't know what that is. Call you Ding. Ding says, I'm in Australia and breed Goliath quail. Yes, they are just a bigger bird. So they are a Coturnix quail, but a bigger version of Coturnix quail. Is that it? Interesting. Andy Rabbit says, it scares me to death each time. It is just the first week of school, so hopefully it will get better. Oh, they didn't drive by my house. Okay, now I'm with you. I'm back on track. I get it now. Yeah, it would scare me to death too. They don't drop off my kid, well, your grandkid anyway. Don't drop them off after school. Just where'd she go? You know, I mean, especially, you know, if you hear about all the kinds of craziness that goes on around here, you just automatically go to the worst possible scenario, right? Back Porch Prepper says, expecting my first batch of hatching eggs from Southwest Game Birds to be shipped to me on September 6th. Looking forward to the hatching and raising them. Well, congratulations on your birds or your eggs coming, and good luck with your hatch. I hope it goes well. So Ding says, for those birds, males are about 490 grams, girls are 500 grams. Interesting. How many? What's that in ounces? Let's see. 500 grams to ounces. That's about 17 ounces. So yeah, maybe that's slightly bigger. It's not dramatically huge compared to other Coturnix, jumbo Coturnix, but it is slightly bigger. So yeah, that's not a bad thing. Slightly bigger is better. G. Rubin says, very helpful egg answers. Thanks. We're absolutely welcome. And do you have a favorite color variety relative to productivity and size? I like Jumbo Pharaoh, Jumbo Brown, Jumbo Wild, whatever you want to call them. I like those. Maybe those Goliaths that Ding is talking about are great birds too. I don't know. I haven't seen them. I haven't got them. But I like the Jumbo Browns. As far as, you know, what's available in the United States right now anyway, my opinion is the Jumbo Browns are just for multiple reasons the best one to go for. But you got to remember, I'm breeding for just meat and eggs, so they lay as big, if not the biggest, egg of any of the Coturnix quail, aside from maybe, like I said, the Goliaths being raised in Australia. Apparently, they are good sized birds, as big, if not bigger, than any of the jumbo birds, and they're feather sexable, so I can easily tell that's a male, that's a female. I don't have to wait and try to vent sex them and do all those kinds of things. So that's my go-to. I like those the best. And you're going to get, I think there are some varieties that may lay a little bit more prolifically. Like you might get slightly more eggs out of them than you do the Jumbo Pharaohs, but they pretty much lay an egg a day. So it's not really a big difference. Andrew says, got 52-week-old jumbos in the brooder. I put in some automatic watering cups like the ones you have, because they were emptying 2 quarts of water every day when I check on them. And the quart is empty and I refill. They go crazy like they're dying of thirst. They don't seem to be figuring out the cups. It's been 3 or 4 days. You might give them a little bit longer. Really at 2 weeks old, I put them out with my older birds in the outdoor hutches, and they just figure it out by watching those birds. I just throw them out there and be like, good luck, guys. Find your food, find your water. Hope you make it. And they do. They always make it. I mean, I lose maybe 1 or 2 in that process sometimes. Last time I lost 1. This last one I just put out, they weren't even quite 2 weeks old yet. They were getting close, but they weren't completely 2 weeks old. And I did have 1 bird that was much smaller than the rest. I kind of wondered, is it going to make it? It didn't. But that's it. I just lost the 1. Everybody else is fine. And now they're pretty good size. They can't even get in the feeder anymore. Like for the first couple of days, you find birds inside the feeder. They crawl through the holes and they get in the feeder. But they're too big to do that now. Dennis says, been missing out on it. Been missing out, but I made it in from North Central Missouri. Well, thanks for dropping by. I appreciate that. Good to see you. Joy says, my batch of 120 go into lockdown tomorrow. Well, good luck with your hatch. I hope it goes well. And Dennis has got 56 going into lockdown on Monday. Everybody's hatching right now. Good luck with your hatches. I hope they go well. Let's see. Kundalisa says, is it possible to have a quail appear to be a rooster, yet lay a small jelly bean size egg? Or could it be a hen laying a normal egg and small jelly bean size egg? It could be either one. I mean, it is possible. It's rare, but it is possible that they look like a rooster but are actually a hen. It happens sometimes. Those are mutations in color. It's not that uncommon. I say it is uncommon, but it's not like a super rare, like, oh my gosh, this is the one and the only. No, it happens from time to time. I doubt that's it. It's probably more along the lines of you had a bird lay a normal egg and a little bitty jelly bean size egg. That's probably a more likely issue. Lee's Quail says, hello, everyone. Processing to get ready for QuailCon. Well, good. Well, hopefully we'll see you there. And, I'm not doing, I've got birds, like I said, that are hatching. They're due to hatch. I don't count them before they hatch, right? They're due to hatch on probably Monday or Tuesday. So, I'm leaving out Friday morning to head to QuailCon. So, if my wife is going to go with me to QuailCon, which I don't think she's going to be able to at this point, but if she does, then I've got my sister talked into coming over and taking care of them. Really, all that means is fill up the water and make sure they have food every day because they'll just be in the brooder box. Andrew says, how high off the cage floor are your cups? I'm wondering if mine are too high. When I fill the cups by hand, they drink the water, but maybe they aren't getting to the bottom to peck the yellow plug. I'm guessing they probably are getting to the bottom. Otherwise, they would still hold water in them. There would still be water in them whenever you went back to refill them. Mine are, I don't measure, but they're, that high off the bottom. They're fairly low. So it is pretty easy for them to get to. You can go to, lower them down a little bit and see if that fixes it. My concern with that is that if you have birds that will jump in the cup and stand on it, because then it's just going to create a flood. It's going to flood your cage. But, I guess it doesn't happen very often. My birds are all, outside on wire floor where I've got that. So if they do flood it, it's not going to flood the cage. It's going to go right through the wire floor. But I have had birds stand on it before and drain the water bucket. How do y'all freeze your quail? This is from Regenerative Life. How do y'all freeze your quail? Do you just shrink wrap? Yeah, I use them. I just shrink wrap them. I usually put like 4 to 6 in one of those little food saver bags and vacuum seal it up. Well, and that's a good point. Katrina says they won't learn to use the cups if the other water source is still there. Remove the source, and then they're using and fill the cups. You might have to fill it up several times, and they will learn to hit the yellow part. Yeah, that's pretty much it. And yeah, that's pretty much it. If you have other water in there, take it away. So, but it sounds like you do, because you're saying when you fill the cups up, they go to it and drink like they're just dying of thirst. So it sounds like you're doing that. It sounds like you're doing the right thing. You may just have to fill it up a couple of more times. They'll figure it out. Katrina says, I have a broody hen. I have a hen broody on eggs right now. When she was younger, she crowed and acted like a boy, but he's for sure a girl. Interesting. Kundalisa says, mine were flooding the cage, so I took the wire and made a cover shaped like an upside down U to put over the cups. It all stopped. Yep, that's a good suggestion for that as well. And secured the water cover with zip ties. Awesome. How are we doing on time? Oh my goodness, we went past time. Look at that. That's okay. Yeah, that's a good suggestion if you do have them flood the cage. Luckily, it's a very rare thing. I've had it happen before, but it's not like a common issue. And I just put a piece of wire over the top of it so they can't get on top of it, and they stick their heads down through underneath it, but they can't get on top of it. But I haven't had to do that in a while. It actually doesn't happen very often. So, all right, guys, we're going to wrap this one up. Oh, Andrew's got one more question. Do you let the meat rest before freezing in vacuum sealer bags? Yeah, I let it go with quail about 48 hours, sometimes a week. It just depends. Put them in the fridge. I dry age my meat, so it goes in the fridge dry in a bowl, covered, so nothing gets on it or anything, and let it go for about 48 hours. If I'm if it's in the middle of the week and I'm super busy, sometimes I'll wait till the weekend, and so it'll be in there for a week or 5 days or something like that. But that's it. All right, guys, we're gonna wrap it up. That was the end of this one. I don't know. Let's see. Next week, we should do a live broadcast next week. I don't see any reason why not. Saturday or Friday is the day I head out to QuailCon, but Thursday night I should be free, barring any kind of catastrophes or anything. So we'll plan on that. Otherwise, thanks for joining. And as always, God bless. We'll see you guys later.